of going global. Now, so today we'll be discussing pricing. Pricing is one of the very important factors in export rating. Pricing helps a business be competitive. But factors that influence price include cost, demand, and competition. The cost of products determine the price floor. The level of demand of the product determine the price ceiling. Between the price floor determined by price by cost and the price ceiling determined by the demand, competition is what sets where a business can be in between. In a typical export transaction, you will have the product cost, transport to warehouse, warehousing, transport to port, freight forwarder fee, shipping line local charges, freight charge, NXP processing fee, NES fee, logistic fee, terminal handling charges, inspection fee, NAFDAC fee, marine and good in transit insurance fee, certificate of origin fee, fumigation fee, phytosanitary certificate fee, and interest rate. Let's take them one by one. Product fee, that is the cost of the goods, cost of production and packaging of the goods for shipment. Then transport to the warehouse. For many products, particularly commodity, warehousing might be important because that is where inspection will take place. However, if the exporter already have a warehouse, that's good. The inspection can be done in his warehouse. The container can be brought to his warehouse, inspection done right there in the warehouse, and the goods are then moved to the terminal. So that means if I have a warehouse and I get inspection done in my warehouse, I might avoid warehousing for another inspection, for the inspection to be done afterwards. So those that do commodities, for example, if they don't have a warehouse, they are bringing it from up country, maybe from Kwara to Lagos. They might need to get to a warehouse in Lagos for the inspection to be done before the goods are moved to the port. If I'm moving goods from the north, now a number of northern states like Kaduna, like Kano, have inland container terminal that also could have a warehouse where some of this inspection could be done, so that when the goods arrive in Lagos or in Port Harcourt, if you are going by sea, the need for another another warehouse will not be necessary. As a matter of fact, if the goods are already inspected in Kano, it can be put in the container, shipped to Lagos, and when it gets to Lagos, it goes straight on the ship or to the port waiting for the ship, and then shipment. However, if I'm doing an inspection in Lagos, I will need a warehouse. That means I will incur an additional cost of transporting the goods from the warehouse in Lagos to the port. For me to be able to export, I cannot clear my good for export. I need a custom license agent, otherwise called clearing and forwarding agent. And the freight forwarder fee cover the cost of export clearance through custom and other government agency at the port. Then shipping line local charges. This includes the cost of storage of container, transport of the container, and documentation of shipment. So whereas freight forwarder charge a fee for his professional services, shipping line charge a fee for his services locally. The shipping line charge 2 fees. The second fee is freight charge. That's the cost of transporting the good to destination. This is usually charged in US dollars or euros and pounds, depending on where the vessel owners operate from. Then we have NSP charge to apply for exportation out of Nigeria using this document called NSP. That form is owned by CBN, administered online through commercial banks. Then there's another charge called the NES fee. Remember, if you're exporting from Nigeria, you don't pay export duty. You don't pay VAT on your export proceeds. You only pay a fee to the government called Nigeria Export Supervision Scheme fee. And this is 0.5% of the FOB value. FOB value is value of goods plus profit. Then logistics, for those in Southwest, we call it Owa and Boys. You know, in Lagos, if you are loading a container, some people are going to come and collect Owo money. They're going to go and collect money from you. If your goods pass through a street to load or offload, you are going to pay. So make room for I call them legally illegal fees. Fees you're not supposed to pay, but you have to pay. And if you don't pay, it's like you have committed a sacrilege. Then terminal handling charge. Your goods are going to be handled at the port by a terminal operator, moving the container up and down, stacking it, waiting for the vessel, transferring it onto the vessel. All these costs are within the terminal handling charge. Then inspection fee. Please note that if you are exporting any product, you need to be sure of the quality of what you are exporting. One of the ways of ascertaining the quality of your product is getting a third party to do an inspection. This inspection is different. If I'm exporting commodity, manufactured good or value-added agro product, and it's food item, NAFDAC fee. That's the fee paid to NAFDAC for giving me export certificate or NAFDAC number if I already have a NAFDAC number. If you are exporting good regulated by NAFDAC, if you don't have a NAFDAC number, you can get a NAFDAC export certificate for each shipment. That means technically you don't need a NAFDAC number to export processed food, but you will need an export certificate. But if you have a NAFDAC number, you don't necessarily need an export certificate again, even though some NAFDAC staff will still contest that. Insurance, marine and good in transit insurance. Marine insurance is the insurance from port of loading to port of discharge. Good transit insurance is insurance from Kano to Lagos, or from Ilorin to Lagos, or from Ondo to Lagos. Certificate of origin fee is paid to Nasima, who issued certificate of origin. It's less than 10,000, about 700 or 800, 7 to 8,000 naira. Fumigation certificate, if I'm exporting commodity, I will need fumigation certificate from Federal Produce Inspection Service, and I will need phytosanitary certificate from Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Interest rate. Interest rate fee is only applicable when the exporter is taking a loan from the bank. I want you to look at the chart on the screen. This is a chart of a product that was shipped last year. This is cashew nut, processed cashew nut, cashew kernel in particular, not the raw cashew nut. You can see 20 here represent the quantity in a container. 9,000 is the unit cost. Exchange rate 410, total 73.8 million. Product cost is 20 tons times 2,825 per ton, and the total is 56. Transport to the port is 1.2. It's actually from outside Lagos, and it's on 2 trucks. Inspection, 100, 50-50 per container. So you can see that those fees I mentioned, they're not so expensive. You can see warehousing, 44,000. Freight forwarding, 100,000. Local charges, 30,000. NSP, 8,000. Next fee, 369,000. That is 0.5% of the 73.8 million. Port logistics, 60,000. Phytosanitary fumigation, certificate of origin, 20,000. 20,000 because it's more than 50,000. Usually it's less than 10,000, but it's almost 20,000 because it's the quantity of the item is small. Terminal handling charge, 70,000. Total, 58 million. If you remove the export proceed minus cost, you get 15. This project was being facilitated by an agent in the US, and he has a commission 3.6. Transaction profit 11, 19%. 19% at 410 exchange rate. I do PAP export by air. You can see the product cost and then documentation. See the freight charge. Freight charge is almost 60% of the product cost. Then logistics. The total at the exchange rate of 450 and the profit 12. The beauty of air shipment is that you can round off in a week. That means I can do 4 of this in a month. If you are exporting products that this kind of model for calculating pricing is used when you have. So if you look at this chart, this was a request of one of my clients in 2014 or 15. She was to export product abroad, and the husband is in the UK, and the husband wants to be representing her to sell her product abroad. And the husband now asks for several products together in a shipment. You cannot, it's difficult to price it singly because buyers, more often than not, we also want to pay a ballpark figure for the number of cartons or kg that was sent. So what we did was to look for a factor to multiply the product cost with, for which if we deduct the freight charge and documentation by air, and the product cost is still going to be profitable. And the factor of 3 worked perfectly well. So 3 times product cost to get the selling cost in Naira. That selling cost in Naira, you can then divide by the exchange rate to arrive at the pounds. It was going to the UK, the pounds value to be quoted. But if you look at that Naira figure minus the total product cost and freight and logistic cost, gives a profit that is very reasonable.